Hi, my name is Nana, and I'm the host of Mãos de Vera podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, crocheting, and sewing. And today I will be talking to you about knitting and sewing. I'm going to be going over two very special projects for me. The first one is this this new summer top. It's my new knitting design. It's my very first garment design. Sorry. And I published it on the 6th of May. It was my mother's birthday, so I decided that it would be a very auspicious day to release this pattern. It's all already available on Ravelry. It has, sorry, my voice is cracking up. It has instructions available in Portuguese and in English, so if you're interested, you can follow this design in English. I will be showing you in detail this very special project that I designed and took me 2 years to complete and design. It's a summer top. It has this front panel with waves, as you can see, and the waves are replicated also in the sleeves. It has an eyelet neckline, a very small detail, and then it has this front panel, and it has this false seam at the sides, on both sides, and has this very small garter hem. The pattern has two options that you can follow. You can either knit the pattern, the wave pattern, at the front or at the back. The name of this pattern, I forgot the most important thing. In Portuguese, it's À Babugem. It's a very regional expression here in Portugal, commonly used in the south of Portugal where I live, and it translates into something like by the shoreline, where the waves crash slowly on the sand. It's the meaning of it is being at that line where the waves crash on the shore and hit the sand. And so À Babugem, that's what it means. And it's an ode to the sea and the waves, because I have a very special relation with the sea. I've always lived by the sea. I don't really like to be very far away from the sea. When I went to Coimbra to take my college degree, it was really one of the things that I missed the most, because Coimbra sits geographically at the center of the country of Portugal, and there's no sea around for at least 30 kilometers or more. And there's the river, but it's not the same. Please, don't even don't even try to compare the river with the sea. It's a completely different uh, scenario. So the sea is a place where I usually go to when I feel troubled and I need some clarity, where I can find some inner peace and gather my thoughts and be able to organize them And there's one thing about the sea, that its immensity and magnitude, it always makes me feel quite small, and allows me to get some perspective on how my problems are really trivial if we consider the vastity and the size of the ocean. And it to me, the ocean is like a confident and a confidant, and is also a special friend that always gives me a lot of hope in the future, and it gives me this sense of peace, that and this confidence that no matter the problem, there will always be a solution, and I will always find a way. And so it gives me a sense of hope and courage too. So I wanted to somehow honor that special relation that I have with the sea and the beach and the ocean and the sand, that I grew up in. I I started going to the beach and hanging around the beach, um, uh, probably when I was a baby, because my parents lived about 2 kilometers from the beach, and so I grew up in the beach and I grew up in the going to the beach on the most western side of Portugal, in the Costa Vicentina, Vicentine coast, where the beaches have huge dark cliffs. So I really like a good cliff surrounded beach. Those I love the sea and the ocean anyway, but long extensions of just sand and water with no cliffs around, they're I don't like them as much as the ones that have cliffs and rocks and things like that. But this top is my way of honoring that relation that I have with the sea. There are two options to knit this summer top. You can use the wave pattern at the front, or you can use them at the back. The version that has the panel at the front has some short row shaping at the back, so it gives it a better fit. The version with the lace panel at the back has no shaping at the neckline. So I used a Portuguese brand of yarn. It's Madragoa from Rosarios 4, and it's 100% silk yarn. So it's very soft, it's very smooth, and it's also very light and fresh. And I loved using this yarn. It has a stitch definition that it's really nice, and it makes the lace look beautiful, really beautiful. I was really happy. It took me 2 years to put this design together, but when I finished it, I was so happy that I was able to materialize what I had envisioned in my head. So this is my first garment design. Many more will follow, but this one will always be special because of its meaning, and because it was a perfect manifestation of what I really wanted to do. So I hope you like it. And so if you want to knit it, you can always go to Ravelry and to my design page. I will leave the link in the show notes, so you can get there easily. The other project that I have to show you today is also a very, very special project. It's a sewing project. I've been away from sewing for many, many months, probably 8 to 10 months, and sewing is also a craft that I always enjoyed. It was my mother's favorite craft. She was a tremendous seamstress, and it, this project gave me a lot of. It was a huge challenge. It was a massive undertaking. When I signed up for it, I wasn't aware of the magnitude of the project. So so you can understand what I'm talking about. My youngest son is in third grade, and at the beginning of the school year, the teacher went. She took us through all the major projects and dates that would be celebrated during the school year, and one of them was Family Day here in Portugal, that is celebrated at the 15th of May. So this year they had planned, at the beginning of the school year, they had planned to do a walk in the country with the kids and the parents, grandparents, uncles, cousins, friends, whoever wanted to join in. And they decided that the walk in the country would end with a picnic. That's a really lovely idea. That's all fine and dandy. But there was something that they wanted to do for that picnic to happen and to make it special. They decided that they wanted to do a patchwork blanket for the picnic. And Ricardo's teacher, she knew that I had a sewing machine. She knew that I sew, and she knew that I knit, because my older son, my eldest, also attended this school, and the teachers know each other, and so they shared this information that I usually sew and knit and also crochet. So when she was explaining what was planned for this family day, she turned to me and said, "I would like your help to accomplish this picnic blanket. If you can give me a hand, that would be fine." And I said, "Sure," because in my mind, what she said was one thing, and what I heard was another thing. What I heard was that she wanted help to sew all the squares, fabric squares, for the kids from Ricardo's class, which comprises, which has 25 kids. So I thought, that's okay. 25 fabric squares will be a piece of cake. In my mind, that's what I thought. The thing was, you fast forward 3-4 months into the school year, and one day when I took Ricardo to school, I met with her, and I asked, "Well, are we going to start the thing or what? Have you started to ask the kids and the parents for the fabric squares?" And she said, "Oh yes, I will be doing that this week. And as soon as I get the fabric squares from the parents, I will send them to you." And I was still unaware of the magnitude of the thing, and basically, the first day that Ricardo brought me a fabric square bundle, it was when the chip dropped, and I realized, oh my god, it's not just the fabric squares of the classmates of Ricardo and Ricardo. It's going to be all the fabric squares from all the kids at school, and we're talking about 5 classes that have between 24 to 26 kids. So it was when I realized that this is not just the part of the blanket that corresponds to Ricardo's class. It's going to be the whole school. I will be sewing the fabric squares for the whole school. and and oh my god, we were at the beginning of March, and I thought, oh my god, I have 2 months to get this thing done. And oh my god, it was really very a very stressful moment, because oh my god, will I be able to pull this off? And I started sewing the fabric squares as they kept coming and coming and coming, and I believe that at some point I asked what were the planned dimensions of the blanket, and the teacher told me that the idea was to make a blanket that would be 1.5 meters wide and 3 meters long, and it was just overwhelming. It was really overwhelming. But I decided, well, I signed off on it. I said I would help, so well, might as well get the job done. And so I started sewing, at first to get some rhythm and to be able to speed things up. I started sewing squares 2 by 2. And then when I had them all sewn together 2 by 2, I started to make these fabric lines with 10 squares long, because calculating the measurements, every fabric square was 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters. So I calculated the measurements and came to a number of fabric squares that would get me that dimension. Eventually, I also decided that it would be important to involve the kids, and at least Ricardo's class, his classmates. So I arranged to go to Ricardo's school one morning, and I took my sewing machine and the fabric squares, and I taught the kids to use the machine, and they were able to sew some squares together so that they would be also involved and felt like they were part of it. So it was really fun. I was really surprised, and gladly surprised, that at least 8 or 10 kids out of 25 knew what the sewing machine was, knew what was its purpose. One of them even told me that he had already experimented using it. So it was nice to see that the kids aren't as detached as I believed them to be from what it takes to sew clothes and things like that. It was my son was completely ecstatic. The kids were completely excited. I know that I spent an entire morning there with them sewing and helping them sew, and it was really exhausting. When I came to the end of it, I was exhausted because they were so eager to try and to experiment, and girls were giggling and kids were yelling of the excitement and the enthusiasm of being a part of it. And the last few weeks before the date, the family day, they were really really heavy on me. I I documented a bit of the process. I will put it here so you can see it. I couldn't for the love of me document the whole process, although I wished I had, but it was really impossible. I either sewed or documented the process, so both things could not coexist. And I finished the blanket. I came to a point that failing the deadline was not an option, although I kept dreading it and fearing that I would fail and not be able to accomplish the blanket, finish it in time. But I powered on. I just powered on. I Failing the deadline was not a possibility. There were too many kids that I didn't want to disappoint. Not just my son, and not just his teacher that was counting on me. And at at the day 2 days before, I sat in my machine around 10 o'clock at night, and I stopped at 2:30 in the morning, and I was exhausted. My back were killing me, but I had already assembled everything together, and the only thing left to do was to sew the date and the day. The teacher asked me to if I could embroider or sew that inscription with the date and the day. And that was the last thing. That was the thing that I left for last. I asked a friend, co-worker friend of mine. She has a Singer sewing machine, and that sews or embroiders days, letters and numbers. And that was the last thing, not without setbacks. No, it had to have a setback, and I finished because I had to unpick one of the date inscription turned out wrong because it kept sewing on top of one another. And the last thing I had to do was to unpick the seam that wasn't, the inscription that wasn't right, and it was a complete nightmare to unpick. But I managed to finish it at 11:10 p.m. the day before. So the next morning was on a Monday. Family Day was 15th of May. It was on a Monday, and the next morning at 9 a.m. there I was with the blanket finished for the picnic. And that's what I'm going to show you. I won't be able to show it as it should. I wish I had a picture to show it that made it justice, but I wasn't able to picture it before. The day of the picnic, there were too many kids on top of it, so for reasons that you probably understand, I won't be putting it up here. So I will be showing you the piece. It's really heavy. It's so heavy. And the final measurements, because we had to adjust at some point, we felt when I laid down the fabric strips of 10 squares. It was meant to be 10 squares wide and 20 in length. And when I put it, I laid it down on the floor, and I realized that probably it was going to be too small. It ended up being too small because all the cakes and snacks and potato chips and juice bottles were so many that the blanket was too small to accommodate all of that, and they had to set two tables at the side, but that's okay. It was meant to be more of a project that joined all the kids together for Family Day. So, as I was saying, I laid down the many strips of fabric, and I concluded it was going to be too small, so I ended up sewing together 12 fabric squares on the width and 22 on the length. So the final measurements, and also with this frame, with the frame, it ended up being 1 meter and 80 centimeters wide, and 3.5 meters length long. So it's really heavy, and I will make an effort to show it to you, but I'm sorry, I won't be able to show it in all its glory. I had the good fortune of having the fabric for the bottom of the blanket already assembled. I had some trunks of fabric that I brought from my husband's aunt when she died, when she passed away. She was a seamstress. She made clothes for other people by commission, and she had all this fabric, and her daughter didn't want it, so she gave them all the fabric to me. And so I had the good fortune of having this fabric already assembled. I only had to cut around 60 centimeters because it was too much. The inscription, of course it's in Portuguese, as you may understand. It says Family Day, Dia da Família. It's 15th of May of 2023, and let me try to show it to you. It's so long. It has so many squares. And it has fabrics that range from linen to double gauze to canvas to denim to cotton, and there's also one or two. This one is denim. This one is used for curtains. It has a different, it's heavier. This one is silk. This one is this for instance is a very light cotton, and these also. But I have flannels like this. This one, no, this isn't flannel. No, it's a jersey, very light jersey. There are also these. This is gingham. Also, I have one that is. I also have velvet. One that is velvet. And there's one. This one is woolen, wool fabric. And I also have one which surprised me a lot. I have a square made. This one is linen. This one here. And let me see if I can find it. And there's also, and it's so beautiful, the colors and the let me see if I can find it. It really surprised me when it came up. See, here it is. This one here, if you can see it, it's just a brownish fabric, but it's suede. And this one here with the flowers, it's a leftover t-shirt. It's a jersey t-shirt with glitter stars. And this one is an upholstery fabric used to upholster couches and pillows and things like that. And oh my god, it's so much. So it was really fun. This one is made out of table napkin, and this one almost seems like this. Sorry, this one. This one seems like those dusting cloth that we used here in Portugal. And well, there's flowers and you name it. So it's all here. A lot of Spider-Man. We also have one that I really like. Let me see if I can find it. That is the, I think I've showed it before. It's the boyfriend's handkerchiefs. Well, I can't find it now. Well, too bad. But as you can see, it's huge. I can't really show it all. So, and I made these at the corners, or I tried to make it as neat as possible. Oh, it has a. I kept taking. I spent 3 carts of thread, whole, 3.5, and a lot of hours, a lot of concern. And when I started to sew the strips together, it was really a torment to my perfectionist self. My OCD was through the roof because the squares didn't lay perfectly aligned, and because at the beginning I didn't take the time to check if the squares that were being sent to me that came from the school and the parents, if they were the right measurement. I didn't check if they were 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters. I just started to sew them away, and when it was time to unite the fabric square strips, I realized that there were some squares that were bigger than the other, and they wouldn't line up perfectly, and I even started to unpick some of the seams and try to correct it. But then I realized, well, you're on a deadline. Your time frame is very short by this point, because I was around 3 weeks away, and of course I have a full time job. I have two kids, and I knit and I design, and I have a husband, and something had to give. So I came to the conclusion, well, you're not going to pull this off as perfectly and neatly as you wish, so you have to just let it go. So I let it go. It was really, really a really hard exercise to fight my perfectionist self and to overlook and ignore my complete obsession with everything being all even and perfectly aligned. And so I had to just drop it and power on, and so that's what I did. And well, it's not perfect, but it's finished, and uh, I got so much praise for it. I didn't do it for the praise, but it was really nice to hear it in the end. Um, and it was really, really it brought me back to sewing. It gave me back that joy I had in sewing. I recovered most of the practice that I felt that I lost along the months that I didn't sit in at my sewing machine to sew a garment together. And this is the finished product, and I am really proud of it. And I'm at the end, I felt really honored to be able to be a part of this and to make it happen for the kids and for the teachers. The teachers were blown away. They were blown away by the work, and they just kept telling me, I don't even understand how much work it comprises and how long did you work in it. Um, but well, it's here, and I won't be keeping the final piece. Some of the parents that attended the walk and the picnic were baffled by the project. Many suggested that the piece should be auctioned, or at least that it would be oh my god, what's the word for it? To make a oh to make a that it would be gifted away randomly, and but the teachers said no, this is school property, and I hope that it will have its own spotlight at school. They have many things in display on the hallways and things like that. So I hope it gets its rightful corner, and it gets at least a bit of spotlight. I'm trying to fold this, and it's hard. I'm not sure how much it weighs. I will probably weigh it before delivering it. I asked for if they could borrow it from me, so I could show it here on the podcast. And because all the pictures they weren't really that good. One last thing about this project was that the day I didn't attend the walk because I was working, but I asked to leave my work just for half an hour, so I could go and kiss my son on Family Day and be with him for 10 to 15 minutes. Because his dad was working and he couldn't get away from work as easily as I could. And and also because I wanted to have a chance to see kids all the kids from school using it. And when I got there, and I was showered with praise and everything, and with gratitude for making this project come together and come to life. And when I got there, Ricardo's teacher gave me the most beautiful flower bouquet I ever received in my life. She made it for me. It's They are really beautiful. Oh my god. See? These are made, I believe it's EVA paper. It's just magnificent. It was her way of thanking me for taking on this project, and I was really surprised and emotional about it. It's just looking at it. I feel speechless about it because I didn't do it for the praise. I did it because I wanted to help and because I wanted to make my son proud and happy, and he was. He was. At least I that was something that I was able to accomplish. And when she gifted me with this flower bouquet, I was really flattered and thankful for the opportunity, and happy that someone was able to recognize the efforts and thank me in such a beautiful way. So this is already really a long podcast. I've been speaking for almost 45 minutes, and I will leave you with a little bit of the process of the making of this blanket, this picnic blanket, and I hope you like it. I will see you next episode. Until then, you knit and sew and craft, because making things, crafting things, is really good for the soul, I believe. See you then. Bye.